This is TWIS. This Week in Science, episode number 999.999999999 infinity, recorded on Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. TWIS Out of Time. Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Kiki, and tonight we will be casually filling your head with chatting, stories, and stuff. But first, thanks to our amazing Patreon sponsors for their generous support of TWIS. You can become a part of the Patreon community at patreon.com/thisweekinscience. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer! This episode is not an episode. It was going to be an episode, but there was a bump in the road. So now what was won't be as it were, but will be what is instead, which is, of course, This Week in Science. Coming up next.
I've got the kind of mind that can't get enough. I want to learn everything. I want to fill it all up with new discoveries that happen every day of the week. There's only one place to go to find the knowledge I seek. I want to know what's happening, what's happening, what's happening this week in science. What's happening, what's happening, what's happening this week in science.
Good science to you, Kiki.
And a good science to you too, Blair, and everyone out there. Welcome to another episode of This Week in Science. It's an episode-ish, episode light. Not really. It's an episode, but not really an episode because we can't count it because if it does count, then it doesn't count. Anyway, thank you for joining us. We have a show ahead.
How many times do you think you've heard that intro music? When did it get adopted? When did we start with it?
Gosh, I'm going to have to go back and look at when we began with that music. Because actually, the Alessandro Troiano who made the music, he changed it and gave me an updated version several years ago. So it's been around, but it was updated at one point in time. And yeah.
Because you were doing it when I started in 2012, but I think it was kind of new-ish because you had just been releasing the CDs for a few years at that point.
Yes, we went through a period of time where we released all sorts of fun music CDs. And Tony Steele, he sent a few pictures of some of the covers that he created for the CDs that we made. And last year, Michael Garfield, I finally interviewed and talked with him on the show. And he was actually, a piece of his music had been on one of the CDs years back. There's all sorts of stuff. Valetas Tukozi Me says, can we sing the song still? Of course you can. Sing the songs all the time. That's what we want. Yeah, sing the songs. Enjoy the evening. We'll enjoy some science. So tonight, for this episode that will be out for the podcast world, we aren't doing what was planned as was advertised that we talked about last week, which is that this would be our 1000th episode. Justin is unable to make the show, and we decided it would just absolutely not be right for us to move on and celebrate 1000 episodes without him. So tonight, Blair and I will be talking about things. We're going to be chatting with our chat rooms that are live with us as we're recording this. And we're all going to do something moving through time together this very evening. Anything you want to add about that, Blair?
No, I mean, I'm happy we could still be here and chat with all of you, but I am very excited. I started prepping for the show 1000 over the last week or so, and I'm pretty excited to share some stuff with you all next week. So definitely tune in then.
Yeah, we have done our preparations, so there is still a celebration, and there's a lot of stuff to be covered for our history, I guess, the celebration of where we've been. John Ratnaswamy says you should tell zoo secrets. Okay, so I think that would be fun in a minute. So
here, should I keep track of these requests? Here, I'm gonna start
we definitely
an
need
analog
to keep track
list.
Yes. comments, requests tonight, things that you bring up. Maybe we can bring them into the celebration next week if you haven't shared ideas and various things with us. So, when we have Justin back on the show next week, I'd love to bring in some of the memories you all have. As we jump into the show here tonight, I want to remind you that if you are subscribing to TWIS, look for This Week in Science on your favorite podcast platform, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and it'll get you a new episode every time we publish one. And we stream live Wednesdays at 8 p.m.-ish Pacific time on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And you can look for our website, twis.org, for show notes and other fun things. But now it's time for the things that we want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, we brought a little bit of science news, I think. So normally in our prediction show, we would go over last year's predictions. We'd do our predictions for this year, and time permitting, we would do maybe a couple stories from the week's news, not to lose track of the twists of it all. So obviously our science news that Kiki and I found for this week would be stale next week. So we had to use it before it all went bad. It expired. So it's got to be this week in science. So we do have a few things that we wanted to bring just for fun.
This, what would we say? Schrodinger's cat time in science? I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All my stories, though, I really, because science stuff right now, the things are very, I don't know, weird in the world of information on the internet. And it's been, I guess, when I was looking at, preparing for 1000, I was going back through all the years of, the science that we've covered and the people that we've interviewed on so many topics. And this last week, the Palisades fire, the Eaton fire, the basically LA burning is a huge thing. And there's a lot of misinformation going out regarding that right now. And it really struck me that as this is happening, we have been talking about this issue on the show for over 2 decades. And we've been talking with people about the whys and the hows and the,
You're talking about climate change?
Climate change. Not just fires. Climate change.
Oh, got it.
We've been talking about it for a very long time. And it's interesting to see the commentary of reporters on Blue Sky and other places saying, it's not that hard to connect the wildfires with climate change anymore. Mm-hmm. You should be doing that in your paper. The article you wrote, you should say that, and it is it's situational because the climate's been changing. Everything's been shifting around. And yet at the same time, we're in this space where we are privileged enough to have gathered this wonderful, wonderful community of people that trust us to tell them about stuff and talk about stuff, to ask questions. And yet in the world of social media, the idea of credibility and trustworthiness and verifying sources and truth, it's getting harder and harder to do. And Facebook, wants to go, they want, I don't know, Zuck wants everyone to man up and, find your own truth, bruh. So it's a very interesting time to be having this, this reminiscence of going back and looking at everything that we've talked about for so long and how things are playing out. And I don't know, everybody out there, where are you? Are you off social media? Are you some of the people who are you deleting your accounts? Are you moving to other accounts? What are you doing? How are you deciding what you trust? There's a study that's out this last week in PLOS Climate, researchers out of Boston. Networks of climate obstruction, discourses of denial and delay in U.S. fossil energy, plastic, and agrochemical industries. And they looked at Twitter, or social media renamed X. They explored a bunch of tweets, the messages that were going out and what was happening. They looked at the text of tweets from 2 of the largest U.S. corporations and a major trade association for each of these sectors, and they found coordinated messaging and identified synergistic themes among the 3 networks. So basically, what they've been able to determine is that it suggests that there are discourses to deny and delay climate policy. They're aligned and coordinated across the sectors to reinforce existing infrastructure and inhibit change. We've talked about this before, but this is yet another study that uses the information that has been available to the public to be able to make the evidence a little bit stronger. Exceptions emerged for some sector-specific goals, so contrasting messages about biofuel. There were some other disparate views related to policy priorities, but similar efforts to reinforce existing extractive petrochemical hegemony and to undermine climate policy. So there's work being done, everybody, behind the scenes that is influencing what you see in the social medias. And that's if it's from accounts or shared by accounts that you trust or you don't trust, the discourse is going to become ever more difficult to parse. And the idea that there is alignment and a certain amount of synchronization between these areas suggests that, we should really think about this whole information economy. I don't know. And now brands are like, hey, journalists, you're fired now. Come work for our marketing department.
So this is so tough for so many reasons, but at the heart of it is, the more I learn every day about what corporations and billionaires do, the more it feels like I'm going insane, because it all sounds like conspiracy theories. It sounds like a conspiracy theory. And we spend so much time debunking conspiracy theories on this show. But the more we learn about what corporations are doing, the conspiracies are true. And it makes me feel like I'm going crazy. Like I just learned about how Nestle lobbies against paid parental leave so that you will buy more formula from them. Like it just, all of these things that sound like you're connecting the dots on some whiteboard with string, and you're like, it's all connected, and you should be on like the Ancient Alien show, and it's
with
real.
tinfoil on your head, right? Yeah.
Yes, and it's real. Like, oh, did you know that all the oil companies are hiring old journalists to rant on Twitter about climate change denial so that we all get complacent? No, it's real.
And did you know that they don't even have to hire people? They're doing AI
to distract us from these other things. It's real. I'm sorry. It's all ridiculous. And yes, you can hire an AI now to spew misinformation while feeding climate change, because AI is terrible for the environment. So like,
yeah,
I'm tired already. This is too much.
I know. So what I really recently, I don't know how many out there have watched the Saturday Night movie about the first episode of Saturday Night Live. I watched it. I think I told you this after the show last week, Blair.
Yeah.
Watched it. Loved it. Was so great. I mean, I know it's a fictional reinterpretation of, that whatever that environment was that got Saturday Night Live going. But it inspired my husband and I to start watching the old episodes of Saturday Night Live, starting at the first episode.
Oh my gosh.
1974, the year of my birth. I had no idea. There were so many jokes about then President Gerald Ford, so many jokes about Cher and her breakup with Sonny Bono and then like getting together. Anyway, these jokes that I didn't understand the context to sent me down historical contextual rabbit holes that informed me on a bunch of things. And one good kind of silver lining to it is the information ecosystem is a lot more complex now, and it's going to become more and more complex. But the issues and the stuff that's going on, it hasn't changed. I mean, honestly, it is seriously, there was a series of jokes about Gerald Ford because New York City was going bankrupt. New York City was going bankrupt. Because of a variety of things that occurred up until that year. They asked for governmental help so that they, a bailout so that they would not go bankrupt. And it was the time of the ascendancy of Ayn Randian economics and philosophy, and the Keynesian kind of economics were less in favor in the government at that particular. Yes, John Ratnaswamy, Greg Allman. Yes, the Allman Band. Thank you very much. That was a whole share thing. Very interesting. And so Gerald Ford listened to his advisors who said, don't give New York money. Make them figure it out. Make them cut social programs. They give too much money to the people who work hard and pay taxes in New York. And so, no, Gerald said, nope. And New York City was really mad for a while. Eventually he bent to pressure and did help out, but there were caveats. And by then, New York City had already implemented severe cuts to its budget to be able to make way. And I'm watching the same thing happen. The wildfires in California, and the conversation is already happening. Let's stop. We're not going to subsidize. We're not going to bail out California when California needs help, because they're definitely going to go into debt because of this. No, we're not going to help. No money. Right. There's so many interesting things going on now that happened then. And I recommend a trip down memory lane that is funny. It's humor, and then you'll be like, oh, why did they say that? And what happened then? And what's going on there? And I don't know. It's I'm really enjoying it.
Interesting.
Yeah. No. I don't know. Candace Bergen. They really are into Candace Bergen.
Oh yeah.
Season 1. Also, who knew Paul Simon could play basketball? What?
Okay.
You need to watch it.
Goodness.
Yes, Excalibur's engineering. It's not new, of course. Look up national streetcar lines for why we don't have light rail anymore. Yeah. There's so much. Why don't we have light rail? Why can't we have more things like, I think there's what did I read about today? There's a rail system that doesn't need rails. It's like it stays within its little lines.
Oh, geez.
So you don't have to actually install rails. It's streetcars, but not a rail system.
Interesting.
So easier to implement. But,
cool.
Yeah. I don't know, Blair. Are you staying on the things?
I mean, no, not really. I'm pretty much just lurking on Facebook and Instagram right now. I definitely stopped using X for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I logged into Twitter last night specifically to pull tweets to look at for the 1000th show. So that is honestly the only reason I haven't completely deleted my Twitter accounts, is because I don't want to lose the record.
You don't want to lose the record, and also you don't want to lose the handle, because
exactly. Yeah. I don't want somebody else to take it and do something with it that I don't approve of. So yes, so I have kept Twitter on life support for that reason, but I'm not using it. Facebook, I don't know what to do now, because there's just some things you can't get from anywhere else than Facebook. Like, I have random family that the only way I know what's going on with them is through Facebook. Stuff like that. That just, it feels bad. But I don't scroll through Facebook. I don't do that at all, because it's just a mess now. It's just ads, pretty much.
Right. And I think there is a place to, not completely delete your accounts and your connections at this point in time. You can actively not support the advertising that is delivered to you. There are, ways to subvert the dominant paradigm from within it, and to use these platforms in ways that are less, I guess, less for as a pawn of the platform, so that if you go there and are just like, getting mad at everything everybody's posting, I mean, maybe you really shouldn't be there in the first place. But if you're going there to find baby pictures and find out if people are, I've been going because I know people are posting about the fire, and I want to see who I know who is safe or has lost a house. And, I think that's important. And we need these kinds of things. Well, actually, we could figure out different ways to do this. I don't know. It could be better. There are other people are coming up with new solutions all the time. And maybe the blue sky architecture is the way it's going to go. The federated blue sky, open source, no billionaire can control it kind of way. But then it doesn't,
I don't know, just like
collect everyone.
There was Mastodon, there's Thread, like there keeps being things, and I keep going like, is this gonna be the one? Is this gonna be the one? Is this gonna be the one? Like, when do I jump? Like,
so Fada is saying recommending Blue Sky, and I wish I could find my login information for TWIS for our Blue Sky account, because I did make This Week in Science Blue Sky account, and I can't access it anymore, and I don't know why. But I like Blue Sky because it feels a lot like early Twitter at this point in time, before
when you just got to talk to scientists one-on-one. That was so fun. When you could just tweet at David Schiffman and ask him about sharks. Like, and what happened to that?
He's on Blue Sky. You can go do that now. So I'm on Blue Sky. I really like it. I don't engage as much as I could, because I'm kind of not engaging in the social media stuff as much for my mental health. But I do like
so much care and feeding is the problem. Like, I think that's where I kind of lost interest too, is where the analytic became so important. And if you didn't do things exactly right, nobody would see your stuff anyway. It's kind of like, all right.
Yeah, so that is the difference, where Blue Sky still, you have to engage, you have to get you have to work it, but there's not an algorithm that's deciding who's important and who's not. It is a timeline. And so when you post, if people see it and they like it, then it gets shared and reshared, or you can reshare later. So there are ways to be out there. I don't know. Interesting. TikTok, that's a whole other thing. John Ratnaswamy is talking about.
Well, it might be gone in a couple days anyway.
Yeah. So this, I mean, we're science, but this, for me, is very important, because TikTok actually developed a very active science communication community. They actively reached out to find science information creators. They funded them. They started they brought people in to talk about science on TikTok. And there are a lot of people there, and it's become this big thing where people don't do it as much on Instagram or any other outlet. They're doing their communication on TikTok, and they've been able to make it work. And so I find what's going to happen with TikTok very interesting for this particular reason. But additionally, reading about how, people are maybe leaving TikTok, joining another Chinese app, and everybody's like, yay, oh, okay, I'm learning Mandarin now. And that's great. But yeah, Sunday the 19th, we'll see what happens. The updates to the TikTok thingy and the downloads of TikTok, that's not going to happen right away. I'm fascinated to see what happens here. All I have to say is if anybody is creating content or getting any content from these platforms, I mean, you have to you have to be on all of, you have to be out. I'm not a TikToker. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not a podcaster. I am a communicator. I want science community. I want science conversation. I want understanding, discussion, discourse. I refuse to be defined by a platform. And the fact that people are allowing themselves to be demeaned as influencers, or, there are some very, very great people who call themselves YouTubers. I think they are belittling themselves. Drink more wine.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's if you kind of paint yourself into a corner with one app or one platform, then that definitely limits your abilities.
Oh, right. Yeah. We have John Ratnaswamy, who's saying about 70 to 80% of the best Twitter accounts that he followed are on Blue Sky now. And then Veletas is saying many of the TikTok people are trying to come to YouTube, and it's sad to see them suffering, losing their audiences, because it's hard to take your audience to a new platform. Like we went through this, like, even though we've been, the podcasting and everything, but with live streaming, like we went through this at the end when we had to leave Twit. A lot of people, even now, go, "Oh my gosh,
you're still on the air?
I thought that you ended when you left Twit." Even though we're sending out messages, trying to keep in touch, do it, nope. It's so hard, especially when you're, you don't have like the bazillion-dollar media budget to do all of the conversations and marketing to make the connections. Yeah. I don't know. I want the TikTok people, especially the science community. If there's any way that I can help, I would love to help them make transitions to different platforms. I don't know how exactly I can do that, but I would love to be a helper in this case, because, there is good communication going on out there, and we need it. We're going to need it more and more, and we're going to need trusted people.
I've been very happy with, I mean, you have to be a skeptic. But I've gotten so much good parenting advice, baby advice, like all this stuff over the last year and a half via, what are they called? Reels on Instagram?
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. And before that, I got labor coach tidbits before I gave birth, all through Instagram. And there were things that I used in labor that I learned by watching Instagram Reels. Now, there's also people going on there telling you to eat moldy food because it's good for you, and do other crazy things that are just absolutely, feed your child a lemon when they're 6 months old, or, just crazy stuff that you're like, okay, well, I know that you're full of it, but does everyone know that you're full of it? And how is this allowed to continue? And this is part of where the fact checking piece gets really scary, is if you can't report a video for giving dangerous content out to people, then what? Then what percentage of my content that I'm seeing is BS?
Yes.
And also, how many people are seeing that and then doing things that are dangerous?
Yeah. And a lot of people, I hope that we allow people to challenge their beliefs and learn new things, and maybe, get upset at us sometimes and then go, "Oh yeah, okay, well, but I like that question, so I'll come back and listen to more." It's like, I want to be the friend who is there to constantly like poke you with a stick and you kind of like it. But not everybody likes that, right? You want the information that reinforces who you are and reinforces how easy it is to lose weight or be healthy, or, you know, this way, if I just do this one thing, and oh, if I listen to this person, oh, they made me feel so special. I'm part of a special club. And yeah, by the way, everyone right here, right now, you're all part of a special club.
Yeah.
You know, but there is good. There's so much good out there. And I think people who are already ready to be skeptical understand the reasons to be skeptical, who understand how to find you know, verify sources, to go, wait a minute, is that right? And then go down a rabbit hole and find other information, and go down, you know, find other ways of looking at a question. You're there already. I don't need to tell you again to verify your sources, do this, do that, you know. But it's the question of, how do we talk to the people who are getting the videos, the reels, whatever they are, of the, you know, eat the moldy stuff, and how do you be the creator that says, hey, don't eat the moldy stuff,
right,
and then actually get it into their feed, right? How do you make what you make get in their feed, so they see what you have to say, and you're not attacking them. You can't say, you can't say, don't believe this is wrong, because maybe they believe it for some other reason. It's like all of the emotional stuff and everything. John Ratnaswamy is saying raw milk. People are identifying with you know, organic, natural, like, ways of living. They want their raw milk. They want non-pasteurized things. They want to be close to the land and close to nature, and that's dangerous right now. You know, that raw milk's going to give them bird flu.
Truth. I remembered my favorite one. This is when I was still, I think my little one was like 2 months old, 3 months old. No, I guess a little older than that, because we were talking about starting to feed him solids. And so I saw this video on Instagram of somebody who took a high power magnet through their baby's oatmeal, and a bunch of metal shavings came out.
Oh, but it's iron. Yeah, but I did like a food science video on this.
Yes.
Eat your Wheaties, everyone.
Yes. So I saw that, and I was like, oh, that's obviously like fake. And then I saw it again, and then I was like, oh, excuse me, what is this? And of course, remember, I'm sleeping like 90-minute chunks at this point, right? So my brain is only half present. And that's true for most of the people those videos are targeted to, because they have a baby. And so I was like, what the heck? And so I started doing research into it, and then I went, oh, duh, it's fortified with iron. It's supposed to have that in there. That's the whole point.
Right. But you're able to pull yourself together and get that, whereas, you know, other people don't have the basis of knowledge necessarily to understand that. And yeah. And I mean, it comes down to, you know, do you have the time, the background, the energy, the motivation to actually question the things that people say? And right? Especially a person that you've decided that you trust. And I really, really do hope that people go, hey, you said this thing on the show. What? And then if you're curious, go look it up. That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
I'm not here to tell you things that are going to just like, you should live your life this way. That's not why I do this. I mean, that's why Blair's here. Okay, I've been like, you know, ranting. This is like, you know, one of the rare times that Kiki goes on a rant. But there's work to do. I believe that we're part of a fabric of bolstering, you know, the ability of people to understand things. And that's, you know, it takes a village. And hopefully there's, you know, ways to move forward that include educating, beginning at very young ages, everyone on the ways to verify sources and to understand the media that they are consuming from a very young age.
Well, I mean,
very,
future the youngins of today will grow up knowing not to trust, hopefully, not to trust anything from certain platforms because there is no fact checking. I think that is the thing that you have to like take away from this is just like, okay, social media equals lies. Sorry. You cannot believe a single thing that you read there. It's like back when you used to be able to edit, anyone could edit Wikipedia back then, right? When anyone could edit Wikipedia and you could go and you could change the page on elephants and say they were a reptile, you could not use Wikipedia for anything. And they figured out how to create a fact-checking system, create verified contributors, do all sorts of checks and balances so that by and large, Wikipedia is pretty accurate now.
Still, we use Wikipedia as the basis for the start of what you're looking at, not
you have to find the source material. You have to vet the source material. Is this Wikipedia article just citing somebody's blog based on nothing, right? So you have to do that kind of second level research, but it's still much more reliable than it used to be. This feels like we're moving backwards. There were checks and balances and we are removing them. So now
come on, everyone.
Anything on Facebook, garbage. No facts. Also, doesn't have to be your actual uncle. Maybe somebody stole his profile and it's not even him. So take anything that he posts with a grain of salt.
It's not even like, flyers on telephone poles or, pamphlets that people are handing out. It's with the account mimicry and the way that works, that's even more dangerous.
This feels like a desperate move, though. Honestly, it seems like it's the decision made by somebody who needs to pander to the new administration because he should be in trouble for something. I don't know what it is.
Something.
But there was a favor that needed to be created. Again, see, I'm talking about conspiracy theories that are most likely true. So this is the world that we live in now.
Which is so weird, right?
It's so weird.
Like you said, I've been forever being like, no, that's a conspiracy theory. That's like so fringe and so way out. No way. And now I'm like, now I'm...
This billionaire is currying favor with the new president because he did something that he doesn't want us to know about. That sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's probably accurate.
Which is why I am learning more about politics, human behavior, social sciences, and I'm very interested in the movement of civic science, which is the effort to try and get individuals within our society more involved in not just using science and seeing it as facts or getting the products of it, but the ultimate act of creation. So communities working with individual, like being stakeholders, being part of the conversation, being part of the questions that are being asked so that needs are fulfilled. And it's not just like, oh, I found a thing, Anyway, civic science, it's I don't know if I necessarily like the term, but it is the term right now. And the idea is something important. Science with society. Society with science.
Mm-hmm.
It's an endless loop, everyone. Do you want to talk about some fun science instead of me just ranting about, do you want to, or do we want to ask people questions?
Oh, I can, either way. Do you want to hear about some bugs?
I love bugs. Tell me about bugs.
Okay. Do you want to hear about ants or spiders?
I love them both, Blair.
Okay, pick one.
You choose. What does the audience want?
Yeah,
Chat
audience.
rooms.
Ants
Chat
or
rooms.
spiders?
Ants or spiders. Ants or spiders. What do you want to hear?
No more information. That's all the information you get. You have to pick just ants or spiders. Spiders, said Paul Disney.
We have spiders first. Ants.
Oh, ants. 1 and 1. I need a tiebreaker. Third vote gets it.
Ants.
Oh,
Over
ants.
to me.
Ants with a landslide. Okay.
And 3-1. Ants
boy.
first.
Okay.
Spiders, David. Okay, as the votes come in, ants are winning right now.
Okay, great. Ants it is. Hey, ants hold grudges.
What?
Yeah,
How?
that's the whole story.
What?
Here's the nitty-gritty of it. Ants learn from experience. That's what this research figured out. So ants, sometimes they're aggressive to each other, sometimes they're not. They did some lab experiments to figure out why. And in previous research has shown that ants that live near another nest are ant 1 versus ant 2. Here's the problem. Ants and ants and ants. I have 3 categories of ants. How do I explain this? So we have our home nest. Okay. We'll call those nest A. Okay. Then there's nest B that's next to nest A. And
different
then there's
populations.
Nest C. Yes. There's
like
nest
the different
C.
villages. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's very far away from nest A. Okay. Now, in previous studies, researchers have shown that ants behave more aggressively towards nearest neighbors. So when we're talking about the ants in nest A, they are more aggressive towards ants from nest B than ants from nest C.
Yep.
Why?
If they're closer.
Why though? Why would they be more aggressive to closer ants?
Food resources. They're trying to like maintain their territory.
It's purely the amount of exposure.
I see you all the time, so I don't like you.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. So
oh my gosh.
They took these ants, they threw them in a lab. And so basically
throwing ants isn't easy, so that's
right. Yeah, I mean you really got to wind up. So the ants they saw more often were the ones that they were more aggressive towards.
Wow. So it's not even
Plain
like,
and
hey,
simple.
I see you more often, so I know you. Hey, friend.
No, it's I see you more often. Get the heck out of here, which probably, like you said, Kiki, has to do with resources. But then they took this a step further. They're like, why? Why are they more aggressive toward the ants that they see more often? And it's because there's just more likelihood of them being aggressive in other interactions. So basically, if I see you 20 times, you might cuss me out once. And if I only see you once, you're likely to be nice to me, right?
So it's a probability.
It's a probability issue. And so basically, once there is aggressive behavior between the ants, they hold a grudge. So the way that they figured this out was by cutting off some ants' antennae. That made them act passive because they were basically blind. I mean, they couldn't really figure what was going on. So
right, the antennae are important for them sensing their environment, and
yeah. So when they cut off the antenna, they didn't start a fight. So then they had equal amounts of exposure, but the passive ants did not get attacked. Only the aggressive ants got attacked. So really, it is just they're holding a grudge. Probability says if you're closer, you're more likely to get in a fight. Therefore, you're more likely to be somebody they would hold a grudge from. Each nest has a chemical signature. Ants can kind of sense that chemical signature with their antenna. So once they meet one ant from nest B, they're like, all you are jerks. They're like, I'm going to fight with all of you. So basically, that's what happened. Ants hold a grudge. They learn from experience. That's the like sciencey way of saying that they hold a grudge. And so, as one of the researchers said, ants and other insects aren't robots. They're not pre-programmed. They learn from experience. They adapt. So there you go. Ants hold a grudge.
I think that's one of those interesting conclusions or, the ideas that come out of it, because we think of colonial creatures as kind of like just parts of a whole. the idea that they could be individuals and have their own responses that aren't just programmed, they're not just automata, is not something that's the story hasn't been seriously told that way, except for like, I think, what was it, the movie Ants, which really wasn't that good anyway.
Talk about the Woody Allen canceled Woody Allen. That whole movie's canceled. Meanwhile, Bug's Life came out that year, also had Kevin Spacey in it, canceled. So Bug movies 0 for 2, gotta say.
Animated Bug movies.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oopsie poopsie.
That's fun.
Anyway.
David Huss says, reminds me of Peaky Blinders, but for ants.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. So now what we can do to get rid of the ant colonies under our houses and the sugar ants is find
more ants.
Oh. More ants. The ants they don't like. Have a war. It'll be great. Go away.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
And then a real quick story on spiders while we're on it. They can smell with their legs.
What?
Yeah.
How does spiders smell anyway? Like, let's talk about their hydrostatic, or they have an exoskeleton. Wait, so they're hydrostatic. All these animals. Yeah, please explain.
Researchers have been puzzled by how spiders detect odors. They know that they do because they respond to sex pheromones that have been fully analyzed and reconstructed in the lab. So they're real. They're part of the deal. But they don't have antenna, which, as we just discussed, is how
no
a lot of insects sense pheromones or other smells. They also appear to lack wall pore sensilla, which is the specialized structures on an insect's body that they rely on for smell.
Like little baby antenna all over their bodies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But hey, researchers found wall pore sensilla all over their legs.
Oh.
Yeah, on male wasp spiders. Argiope brunicki.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Had to bring a little Justin here with me, right? They can use them to detect airborne sex pheromones with high sensitivity. This is only in males. They are different structures from those found in insects and other arthropods, and they are found in a lot of spiders, but not in some of the basal species like trapdoor spiders, which means it is most likely a convergent trait.
Yeah,
it's only found in adult male spiders, not females, not juveniles.
Okay,
we don't know how females smell. This is still a mystery.
Yeah, females, do they smell? Do they not? Why? I mean, would they only? Why would they not? I don't know. But this is so these wasp spiders are a species of orb weaver spiders, which you love when they're across your doorway in the morning when you go out to work. Yeah. Orb weavers are common all over the world. So is this just this wasp spider, or is it going to be? But are they going to go look at all sorts of orbies? Because I love orb weavers. They're wonderful. And if them, why not
great.
others? Yep. Like, they're great. But if them, why not others? There's a big question. Yeah.
Yeah. So most spiders have this. Most spiders across spider species have this thing. Just not some of those super, what they call basal species, the kind of the ancestral species. So either a bunch of ancestral species all lost it, or what is more likely is that it is a convergent trait amongst spiders. So anyway, that's pretty much all of it. Still lots of research to do, figure out what the heck's going on with females.
Right.
But this is the closest they've gotten to figuring out how spiders smell.
But it usually is the males who go look for the females, right? In most of the species, the males are like, "Hey, lady," and then
this gift.
I give you a gift, or the little tiny, don't eat me. And then the female goes, I eat you, I don't eat you. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, now I want to know where the scent, the odor of the females is coming from. Do the females only know the males are coming because of like vibrations on their web or other like factors?
Right. That's a great question.
Do they need to smell?
Well, I've seen a lot of spider copulation videos. That's a crazy sentence.
Really?
Where, I mean, listeners to the show will attest. Anyway, there's a lot. I feel like they tap on them a lot. The males will just show up and like poke them, like, "Hey, you, will you watch me dance?"
No, carefully tapping.
Hey, here's this sperm packet I made that is only nutritional and delicious and doesn't actually have, it's not for making babies. Here. While you're doing that, would you like the sperm packet that is for making babies, please? Oh, you're going to eat that too? Shucks. Just don't eat me, please. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know. Lots of unanswered questions about the ladies. Apparently, it's like human research, and they only did the research on the men. No, I'm kidding. They did do the research on the females. That's how they figured out the sex pheromones, and they checked for these structures on the females, and they did not have them. So,
which is interesting.
Yeah.
But they need to look at a lot more spiders, and they need to look at like a lot more things, right? Yeah. We need to know more things, everybody.
Yeah. So that is all I brought. Yeah. So I wrote down zoo secrets and blue sky. That's what I wrote down so far.
Good.
So
that's a great analog note-taking record, Blair.
I've been taking notes all day. Oh my gosh. So I guess I'm toast. But yeah, so I'm gonna open it up to the chat room. Hey everybody. Is there anything you want us to talk about next week? Is there anything you want to talk about now? Is there anything you want us to like pull or find or look into for next week for the real episode 1000, since we have an extra week now?
We have one more week for the real episode because it's a 99.99 by 99.999999. I don't know what.
Is there anything you want me to ask Justin to do, and maybe he'll do it, and maybe he won't?
Oh, I don't know anything about that story, Fada. You posted because I hadn't been able to access Discord until about 2 hours ago, so I haven't. But thank you. Tools found used by hominids like Lucy from millions of years ago. I haven't read it, but I know what Justin would say. He'd say, Honestly, that's one of the big questions, right? Like, we just need to find the connections between the tools, the individuals. We've been the same kind of individuals for so many hundreds, thousands, millions of years.
Oh, it's a YouTube video, Fada. Do you have the actual thing?
Yes, that's CBS. We'll look into it. I don't know that at all. John Ratnaswamy.
I don't remember that at all. Oh my God.
This is hilarious. This is hilarious. When I met Blair, she got a call and said she had to leave for a quote unquote penguin emergency. I've always wondered about that.
Can you give me more information? When was this? Where were we? Because then I can tell you if it was real or not. Because it could be, actually.
Blair, what would a penguin emergency consist of? Like, I remember those penguins. They were amazing.
I don't know. I mean, like, at the zoo, yes, I need more information. Interesting.
When you were working at the zoo.
It was, you know what? That was 100% real. So one of the jobs, so here's a zoo secret. I don't know the exact specifics of this particular penguin emergency, but in the last 5 or so years that I worked, was Batman involved? Very good. In the last 5 or so years that I worked at the zoo, I managed a teen volunteer program called Talk on the Wild Side. And one of the things that those volunteers did is they sat with baby penguins who are being socialized prior to being released onto Penguin Island when they're older. See, now we're getting into the whole business, because in the wild, baby penguins are born, they hatch about 100, 200 yards from the ocean, or where the nests are. But in the zoo, it's a foot from the water. And when baby penguins are hatched, they're covered in down. They are not hydrophobic yet.
They shouldn't
They
go in
can't
the water.
insulate. They can't go in the water. So they get pulled from Penguin Island, and then they're socialized so that they can take food from humans, because they also have to be hand fed twice a day. So you need to
'Cause they're
socialize
babies.
them. Well, when they're adults too, because they're hand fed herring, so that you can count how many herring each individual penguin gets, but also because pills are put into the fish to keep them healthy, like vitamins and stuff like that. But also for our older penguins, they would get like medicine. So you have to be able to hand feed these penguins, which means from a very young age, they have to be used to humans. They have to be, chill with taking food from humans. So my teen volunteers would go take shifts sitting with penguins. And so I do believe that was, I got a call that I had to go up way, 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 way behind the scenes to where these baby penguins were, to deal with something with the teen volunteers. But you're right. It does sound like something I could also have done in case you're a lunatic. But I do think it was real. I do think it was real.
It's fascinating. But did you keep the baby penguins with their parents and let the parents feed them after you took them from Penguin Island? Or did you hand feed the babies like all the way
So they
through
stay with the parents until they're not eating regurgitated food anymore. They get pulled as soon as they're ready to eat solids.
So basically, as soon as they start making the move to the water, that's like that's the signal that they are ready. It's like they're jumping out of the tree. They're ready to go.
Exactly, yes. And that's when they'd say goodbye to their parents anyway. They would
Right,
still
until being
socialize,
independent.
because like the penguins are pretty, like, they're a social pod, but that's why we always make sure that they're in groups too. We don't let any baby penguins go up there alone. And if ever there's a penguin that's sick that has to go up to the animal hospital and be separated from the penguin colony, that you always pull at least one more penguin, at least, whether they're sick or not, to make sure that they have a buddy with them. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I just know from hand raising birds that it's quite a thing. So, but I'm just curious now. So the distance from the parents to the water in nature is far enough that they lose their down in that time and are not high and not going to hold cold water against their skin. Like
they're just not going to accidentally waddle out into the water, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fascinating to me. Like that is important.
Yeah.
as where breeding sites are and how far they are from the water, as ice calves off of glaciers and in Antarctica, and how how the situation, if the colonies don't move away from the water, and the adaptation of the time it takes for like the fledging to happen is going to interfere. Like that's another piece of the puzzle. Blair, we need little sweaters that are surf sweaters for the babies. Neoprene for the babies.
Yeah, that would be good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, that's the other problem, is that they might move inland, but they're going to lose the like centuries old guano pile that they use as their nests if they do that. So
why is that bad?
Because they have nests like hollowed out into the guano pile, and they're gonna have to start from scratch. It's a whole thing.
Okay, so it's kind of like having your cave system, or your they've got like their spots, and they've so many things. I'm going to start spraying perfume at male spiders and see what happens.
Perfume.
I know.
Just kill them.
I'm going to try and...
Pheromones are that large, the droplets.
Eau de femme d'arachnid.
Yeah.
We'll see what works.
The Argiopes or whatever it's called.
It'll be
Argiopes.
good.
I don't know. Fana wants to know. Let's see if I should be if his friend should feed crows.
I mean, generally, what have you said, Blair? Don't feed the animals. As a zoo person, forever. That's what you've said, right?
Yeah. So generally speaking, do not feed wild animals. Crows are strange. Is the weird one. Because they generally know specific humans and they're very smart. So like if you feed a raccoon, they're going to start going up to humans everywhere to eat. And that's dangerous for a bunch of reasons.
Yeah.
A crow is less likely to do that. But I would still say as a general rule of thumb, you shouldn't be feeding wildlife because also like what if you feed him something that makes him sick? That's not good.
But if you know what you're feeding, you're going on a walk, you're randomly throwing food on the ground, feeding the crows, whatever. It could be interesting if you follow the same walking path every day at the same time, those crows will get to know you. And so the crows will identify with you. They have other sources of food. They've got other stuff going around. But they could begin to identify with you, particularly because of the intelligence of those animals. And I don't think it's true that they'll start swooping on other people demanding food. Other birds might, but I don't think that you as an individual doing that is going to lead to groups of crows.
Yeah.
Crows do mob, however, and that's, I've seen examples during the pandemic. There was a person a few blocks from us who would throw a bunch of food out the window of her second story of her house. She had a massive murder of crows at her house every day at the same time. Her roof was white with, yes, crow poop. But it's the social dynamics are very interesting because if you start with like little families that are local during like the breeding fledging season, then it's really cute and nice and they feed their babies and their babies might succeed and that's great. But then they go off to the bigger colony and but then those other ones might bring other crows back to you. So if you're doing it from your house, you might end up attracting a very, very large amount of crows to your house.
Yeah.
Because that information gets shared.
I mean, best practice is just don't feed wildlife. But yeah, if we want to get real nitpicky about the science of crows, they're special.
And I'm going to say right now, especially with the avian flu and other stuff going on, we know that there is the spread of various diseases at backyard bird feeders because people don't clean the bird feeders correctly. It's a pretty good idea to really minimize the dependence of those animals on us, even though we're here. But I mean, it builds a great ecosystem. More birds, more cats, more coyotes. My backyard is so exciting right now.
Oh my God. Well, this person says they take their dog on their walk too, which, avian flu, you don't want the avian flu to jump to your dog.
Or your cat.
So a cat you have at home that the dog brings it in on their feet, so there's just, there's lots of reasons to not do that right now, especially. But yeah, they're probably not going to start going up to random humans because they're crows and they're extra smart.
They're extra special.
Yeah.
I love crows. I like to caw at them. And I don't know if they go, oh, you are so mispronouncing that.
Yeah, your accent is terrible.
It's terrible, lady. Whatever. So I think it's time to call it. We're gonna head out for the evening. It's been wonderful spending time with you all. I love the Coyotes. I really do. And at this moment, I am throwing a link into the chats that will probably go out. If you would like more This Week in Science, as John Ratnaswamy mentioned at the end, episode 500. It's 10 years ago-ish. And if you want to watch, I think it's like 4 hours long.
I was just going to say, good Lord,
it was so long.
4 hours, 51 minutes.
Very long. If you want to stay up later, you don't have to go enjoy our 500th episode. We all got together in my studio in my house in San Francisco that year, and we had some champagne and dressed up, and it was super fun. Yeah, I had redder hair. What, Blair? I know. I don't.
Oh, I'm going to share screen so I can show just a screen grab of it.
No, I don't know if I need that. I need more window.
Window, please. There we
go. Oh, Blair, you look so gothy emo. I love it.
I was wearing my
mesh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I
wore.
I think I might still have that dress.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any like
whole night of fun and there? Wait, what was that? Did we get up and show off our dresses?
Yes. Okay, hold on. What are we doing?
No, that was Shouty Blair. That's right, Kevin Reardon.
When is this from? What's the date on it?
Oh my gosh, it was January. I think it was like a January 2015.
Okay.
I believe. Look,
oh yeah. There we go.
It was a little time to dance. There was some fun. I had my 80s prom dress on. That was great.
So that was the end of the show, I think, because we're dancing to the outro. And then we were still there for 3 more hours.
There were obviously no fun to be had at all. Oh my goodness.
Yes, John Ratnaswamy, that is the show where I accidentally showed my business card on screen. It was very stupid.
Different business card now, so none of that contact information matters anymore.
No. Although I did get a couple random texts from people that was like strange.
There you go. People, be nice. No random texting.
Oh my goodness. What are we doing?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, what are you doing? Oh!
I think I tried to like pretend to death ray you or something with my parabolic dish that I've been.
Yes, I remember that. We used that, I think, didn't we? We tried to
listen in on parabolic microphones, right? So I could listen. I could be a spy and listen in on people's conversations.
God, how long was the outro? Good Lord.
We played the whole song then. Ta-da!
Yeah, that's true.
And then it keeps going. I see. Okay, you're scrolling. Oh, we're reminiscing. More scrolling.
What's this?
What is what?
Pig in a jar, huh? Okay. Yeah, this looks like a good episode, everybody. You should watch it.
Oh my gosh.
What's this? Oh, looking at a very early TWIS item with you.
And we showed another because we could screen share. Oh, this is.
Oh my gosh. Awesome. A screen share in a screen share. How about that?
This is the ultimate looping.
Oh, how about this? A computer in a computer in a computer. Here we go. Oh, is that TWIS Mageddon?
TWIS Mageddon, which I hope to bring up again next week. This looks like how TikTok started. Did we start it?
Justin got up so many times. Why did he leave so much?
Because he's Justin. He's got to go fall asleep again on TWIS Make It. Did he change his shirt or something? I don't know.
Oh, this is when we did our photo shoot.
Oh, right. We showed some pictures. Oh, he put on his TWIS shirt. He changed his shirt, I think.
Oh, yeah. Was this the day we did the photos? It was the same day, wasn't it?
No. Was it?
No?
Might have been. I don't know. I don't know anything anymore.
Before I fixed my teeth. That's wild. Okay.
The magic eraser has worked very well on my memory.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody out there, if you remember things, you got to let us know before next week. So, but at some point, honestly, we need to do an in-person thing.
Yes.
And we hope that we can get hosts, audience, and all in person. It's going to depend on, schedules when Justin can get into the country. And all that kind of stuff.
That's really the thing, isn't it?
It is the thing at this point in time.
Because otherwise, I could almost fly to you same day. Just fly
easy.
back.
It's
a 45-minute flight or something. It'd be so simple.
That in itself is not the question. It's if we want to get all of us in the room together and get other people. Yeah, we need to work on finding out when Justin will be in the United States, because it's easier to have one person come to the U.S. than two people go not to the U.S.
Right.
We'll see how it works out. But
yeah, I mean, we could go to Denmark, I suppose.
I like Denmark. It's like my peoples and stuff,
Yeah.
Like one part of my peoples.
I'm about to pick up a cat, it looks like.
Oh, you might have. I have had them for a while. That was Ozzy. He was the evil cat.
I picked him up.
He did. He was the scary cat that I had to have a cat stare down aggression encounter with.
Oh, geez.
He was.
Oh, here I go. I'm gonna pick him up.
You're like, I like you. I was like, I have to dominate this cat to get him to.
Oh,
he was nice. He liked love. He just.
Oh my gosh.
He had trauma issues.
Oh, I'm putting it in Justin's face too.
Oh, he's like, I don't like cats.
Really cute cat.
What? I don't like cats. Look at it, Justin's so funny. He's so upset, Claire.
Oh my gosh, that was excellent.
I love you guys.
Oh man. Okay.
Honestly, that is so good. All right, so we will close the show.
Yeah.
Blair has scrolled through.
I scrubbed it.
You scrubbed through. If anyone wants to, I put the link earlier in our chat if anybody wants to go watch that 500th episode. But oh my gosh. Hopefully next week we'll get Justin back and it will be the 1000th episode for real. That will be able and prediction show and all that fun stuff. But thank you so much for being here and joining us for this wandering conversation of science, tech, curiosity, and hopefully positive aspect of the future. I hope you enjoyed the show. Shout outs to all of you who are in the chat rooms. Thank you. Fada, thank you for your help with social media and show notes. I know that we did not do what you advertised this week, and I apologize.
Oopsie poopsie.
Hopefully next week it will be more accurate. I like being accurate. Everyone, Aaron, Lord, Gord, others who help keep the chat rooms nice places to be. Thank you for being there and helping to moderate everything. Let's keep this a place where discourse can continue to happen, where people can ask questions and not always agree, but not be jerks. Identity 4, thank you for recording the show. And Rachel, thank you so much for your editing of the show. And I always, of course, must thank our Patreon sponsors. Thank you to Dana Lewis, Eden Mundell, Alan Viola, Aaron Anathema, Arthur Kepler, Craig Potts, Mary Gertz, Teresa Smith, Richard Badge, Bob Coles, Kent Northcote, George Corris, P.L. Velazar, John Ratnaswamy, Chris Wozniak, Vegard Shefskad, Jonathan Stiles, aka Don Stylo, Ali Coffin, Schuber, Sarah Forfar, Don Mundus, PIG, Stephen Alberon, Daryl Myshak, Andrew Swanson, Fred S104, Sky Luke, Paul Ronovich, Kevin Reardon, Noodles Jack, Brian Carrington, David E. Youngblood, Sean Clarence Lamb, John McKee, Greg Riley, Mark Hessenflow, Steve Leisman, aka Seema, Ken Hayes, Howard Tan, Christopher Rappin, Richard, Brendan Minish, Johnny Gridley, Grammy Day, G. Burton Lattimore, Flying Out, Christopher Dreyer, Greg Briggs, John Atwood, Dave Wilkinson, Rodney Lewis, Paul Phillips, Shane, Kurt Larson, Craig Landon, Sue Doster, Jason Olds, Dave Neighbor, Eric Knapp, Lon Makes, EO, Adam Mishkan, Kevin Parachan, Aaron Luthen, Bob Calder, Marjorie, Paul Disney, Patrick Pecoraro, and Tony Steele. Thank you so much to all of you for your support on Patreon. And all of you who are here for this 99.99999 episode and sticking with us through it. And if all of you or any of you are interested in helping to support us on Patreon, please head over to twist.org and click on that Patreon link. We will be back. Wait, Blair, maybe you should read this. I don't know. How should we? Next week's
show. I'll do the whole thing if you want.
Yeah, go for it. On next week's show,
we will be back on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, broadcasting live from our Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook channels. Hey, do you want to listen to us as a podcast? Perhaps while you scrub through a 5-hour episode on YouTube, just have a separate podcast in your ears. Just search for This Week in Science wherever podcasts are found. If you enjoyed the show, get your friends to subscribe as well. For more information on anything you heard here today, show notes and links to stories will be available on our website. That's at www.twist.org. And you could also sign up for a newsletter that may someday arrive. We love your feedback. If there's a topic you would like us to cover or address, or a suggestion for an interview, please let us know on one of our social media accounts, or as we discussed earlier, just send us an email. Just be sure to put TWIS, TWIS, in the subject line, or your email will be spam filtered into episode 2000. We look forward to discussing science with you again next week. And if you've learned anything from today's show, remember,
I hope it's all in your head.
This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science, it's the end of the world. So I'm setting up shop, got my banner unfurled. It says the scientist is in, I'm gonna sell my advice. Show them how to stop the robots with a simple device. I'll reverse global warming with a wave of my hand. And all it'll cost you is a couple of grand. 'Cause this week's science is coming your way. So everybody listen to what I say. I use the scientific method for all that it's worth, and I'll broadcast my opinion all over the earth. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in 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 Science.